So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the business of online retail. And we are absolutely delighted to have you here this morning. According to John Lewis's How We Shop, Live and Look report, shoppers couldn't get enough of slippers in 2020. With sales going up 13%, they now sell more than 200 styles of slipper, including sheepskin slingbacks and bejeweled faux fur slippers. The report revealed that John Lewis online sales accounted for between 60 to 70% of total sales compared to 40% pre-pandemic. Other notable trends from the report highlighted that staycations also played a factor in spending habits, with tent sales rising 650%, trampoline sales increasing by 270%, and hot tub sales growing by 200%. So if anybody has bought a slippers, tent, trampoline or hot tub, please do, you've added to the huge rise in these trends. Retail industry experts also expect the following trends to grow. Augmented reality will enhance the way that people shop online, which allows people to try on or see things in a 3D setting visually without actually having to be in store. Voice search will also be increasingly important. Personalization and artificial intelligence will mean that retailers will learn more about how we all shop, so making the shopping experience more personalized. Mobile shopping is vital as it allows customers to buy on the go and from anywhere. So ensuring that your e-commerce site is mobile responsive is a no-brainer. Customers also have individual needs when it comes to payment options. So offering a variety of ways to pay will mean you increase your sales conversion. Finally, with COP26 starting in 10 days, I should really also mention that it is becoming increasingly important to consider how sustainable your e-commerce site and products are. All of these trends are going to be increasingly important and are vitally important for the business of online retail. Looking into what is happening in the world of Amazon, apart from the space travel, they are working hard to continue to be the dominant force in e-commerce. And as you may have seen in the news, are experimenting with online grocery, biometric hand-based payment systems, and are also continuing to grow their fulfillment and logistics part of their business, which I am sure Ben Hoffman of Atlantic Access will focus on during his session later this morning, after which we'll have a session from Stephen Grunhut, who will be talking about eBay, and then finally our panel discussion. So as you can see, there are so many trends in the market of online retail, and this looks like it is only set to continue moving forwards. So we are delighted to welcome you all here to this event, which I hope will give you a really good overview of the market. You will need to log into all of the different sessions and will have received all of the links to these sessions. There are comfort breaks scheduled in between each session. My colleague, Kim Davidson, who is waving now, and I will both be on each session. So if you have any questions for the speakers, please do put them into the chat and we will aim to get to as many questions as we can. And finally, if any of you are inspired to start an e-commerce business on the back of attending this event, if you don't already have one, or indeed have a totally different business advice, a business idea, please do be in contact with us to book a free of charge one-to-one business advice meeting. We also have many other workshops and events for you to book onto, all listed on our events page of our website. So please do feel free to book onto those workshops and events that we have coming up. Enjoy this morning. And without further ado, I am delighted to introduce Craig Hartzel, who is also a WeHub member. He has an office downstairs and has been a great supporter of everything. Well, a great part. I call him an e-commerce pioneer. I'm going to let him do his own introduction, but I feel he has been in the world of e-commerce for many, many years and is a perfect person to introduce this session and to start this event. So Craig, over to you.
Can you hear me?
We can, bright and
can you see me?
And we can see you. I think I'm
okay.
going to pin you now. I'm going to make you a co-host and also pin you.
So I had a bit of a technical issue, so I'm on my phone rather than my computer.
Oh, okay.
So Kim might have to share when I talk about some good conversion pages. She might have to share her screen because I'll be fiddling with my phone otherwise. But yeah, so really today in my session, I just want to talk about 4 parts of e-commerce, and they're the crux of e-commerce. Obviously, the first part is picking your niche and your product. So, what are you going to sell? The second part is how are you going to, what sales channel are you going to use for that? So are you going to have your own store, either on Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or are you going to do it via marketplaces? Then we're talking about conversion optimization, which ultimately is about getting more people to convert, increasing your average order value, which is AOV. So having people buy more from you through cross sales and upsells. And then traffic, which is the big thing. You have a store, that they say build it and they will come. Well, that's not true. You have to drive traffic. And finally, which is really a huge part of e-commerce, which a lot of people don't focus on, is repeat customers. So you spent all this money to acquire your customer. How do you then get them to buy more and more often, which really increases the profits of your company? So should we start off with picking your product or niche then? I can see you, Joe, is that right? I can't hear you.
You're muted, Joe.
I can see Kim now, but I don't think I can hear you.
Yeah, Kim is actually facilitating the session, so she'll be. I'll be checking out if there's any questions, but as will Kim. But she's going to be facilitating, which is why I'm muting myself.
All right, cool. So let's talk about products. So what we do here in my company is we have a checklist when we look for products, and we have a criteria. And the first criteria is the price. Now, ultimately, we want something that really sells for over £100. Maybe we could go down to £50 if there's less competition, but you want something that you're actually going to make money with. And the reason I say that is that we sell mugs, we sell furniture. We have to sell one piece of furniture to make the same profits as 100 mugs. So we prefer to, and for the same amount of work. So we would rather focus on high ticket items. You also want to make sure that when you pick your item, you really want to think, well, is it for the kind of middle class niche? Because those people, they don't mind spending more. Price isn't an issue per se, so they're not necessarily trying to find the cheapest price all the time. And actually, they seem to be less, dare I say, problem customers when it comes to customer service. Where, in our experience, when you sell a mug and you make £3 profit, you get all sorts of stresses like, oh, the mug's been broken in the post, or this isn't right, or that isn't right. And when you kind of look at these low ticket items, it costs a lot for customer service to keep people happy. So the first thing is the product over £100. And how do you find these products? Like, just look in magazines, look on wayfair.com if you're into kind of the furniture thing. If you look on it in a magazine, you'll see, there's the most crazy niches. You've got lighting, you've got rugs, you've got bunk beds, all these kind of products that you can sell. Okay, and they're all over £100, which is a high ticket item. So the next thing you have to do is you've got to think, well, is there any brand loyalty when it comes to the product? Is there any point in you starting a camera brand? Well, no, because you've got Canon and those sort of Sony cameras. It wouldn't work. Would you want to start a tablet brand? No, because you're up against Apple. So the question you've got to ask yourself is there any brand loyalty? So let's use light fixtures as another example. There's no real brand loyalty when it comes to lighting. People will see a nice light that they like or a lamp and they'll buy it. So it's really important that you stand a chance and you're not up against the real big boys. The next part is seasonality. So you don't want to be selling Christmas trees in February, okay? Or you don't want to be selling gardening furniture in November if you're in England. So you don't want to get too caught up in seasonality. You want to make sure that you're getting sales throughout the year. You don't just have one boom period and then it's quiet for the rest of the time. And you can look at things like Google Trends. If you go to Google Trends and you type in your idea, so for example, okay, well, let's use lighting as an example. You type in lighting into Google Trends, you put it into the UK, if you're a UK market, and you'll see the trends. Now, if you see like a big spike in a certain time period, that's no good. If you see little spikes that are like this, I'm going the wrong way, then that's good, okay? So you want to look at seasonality as well. Next is demand. Is there enough demand for your product? Well, there's no point going too niche, that there's only like 10 search terms a month, because you're not going to sell many products unless you're in a huge, like you're selling, I don't know, cars or something like that. So what we do is we like to have a minimum search term of around 10,000 a month. So there's decent search term. If you can start ranking for it on Google Shopping, you're going to drive traffic to your store. So 10,000 a month. And the way you can look is you can go to Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool. You do have to enter your credit card details because it's an advertising platform, but you don't have to launch any ads. So whilst you do have to add your details, you can use Google Keyword Planner as a free tool to see the sort of search volume for the different type of product that you want to potentially go into. So you've done all this, you've got a list of say 10 products. So I would encourage you to literally write a list. So you want to have a spreadsheet. Is it kind of middle class? Is there brand loyalty? Is it over £100? And you've got tick, 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 tick. So you're pre-qualifying the product. The next is there a supplier? So what do? You've got to find yourself a good supplier, right? So you've got the two options here. You've got buying stock yourself, which obviously you need to house the stock, you need to post the stock, you need to buy the stock, so your money's tied up in that. Or you can do drop shipping. So drop shipping is literally when the supplier or the distributor ships the product to your customers directly with your packaging and your branding, and you never have to touch the product, you never have to house the product, you don't have to buy the product. But bear in mind, there's a premium for that, because it's not going to be as cheap as if you bought 100, 1,000 items. So you have to bear that in mind when we talk about margins. So you've got those processes in terms of finding your product. And now the last thing you can do if it's a kind of unique product is evaluate your product. So what I mean by that, I'll give you a little story. So another guy that actually works here at WorkHub, so he and I were going to sell an item. I won't go into details of the item on Amazon, and we were going to drive a lot of Facebook traffic. And I said to them, look, just before we commit to buying these and getting them manufactured and sent over, let's do a £20 ad on Facebook with who we think is our target demographic. And let's ask them what they think of this product. What are their thoughts? So we did it. And to our amazement and delight, we never went ahead with the product because they thought of some ideas that we never thought of as to why people wouldn't use this product. So it's really important for, you know, for £20, you can do a market research ad on Facebook and you can get so much information. You can even ask them, like, assume that the product is evaluated. You could say, well, what would you pay for this? Or would you pay X amount? So use those channels like Facebook to your advantage in terms of your market research and evaluate the product. So that is kind of like, I know I've rushed through it really quickly, but I've actually launched a little YouTube channel where I'll send Joe and Kim the link so you can see it and you can watch over it again. But that is the first part, which is basically finding your product or niche. Kim, are there any questions or that, or should I move on to sales channels?
No, do go ahead.
Yeah. Okay,
Unless anyone wants to ask any questions at this stage. Anyone want to put anything in the chat now for Craig? Or wait until a bit later on in the session? Nothing at the moment, Craig. Oh, what do you sell? We've got, which I think I'm sure you're going to get to.
Okay, we sell outdoors products, apparel products, furniture products, all sorts. We sold some weird and wacky things. I can't read that comment. It cut off.
So Judith has said none of this is applicable for items that I make, but I mean, well, it might well be.
It is applicable for items you make. If people are going to go online and buy the product, it's applicable. With the items that you make, yeah, finding your product or niche, maybe that part isn't so applicable, but you could certainly do some market research on it, potentially. Find other kind of similar products that your customers might like. So let's talk about choosing your sales channel. So obviously you've got your own store, or you can choose a marketplace. I know you've got speakers on that later, Amazon, eBay, even Facebook Marketplace. So what are the pros and cons? Well, let's talk about marketplaces like eBay and Amazon. Well, you've got your market already there. You've got your audience already there. There are millions of people, however many there are a month, going onto Amazon and eBay and buying things. So you're basically, you're setting up a market stall in an already established high street, let's say. So you've already got people walking past. The pros there is you don't really have to do much. I mean, you can do PPC, it's another conversation, but you can do, you know, people are going to come and buy your things. You don't have to spend too much money on advertising. You know, if you sell on eBay, all of a sudden you'll get sales. You just listed the product. But what are the cons? The cons are you don't own your customers. So eBay and Amazon own your customers. So that means that you can't remarket to them. You can't email them. You can't SMS them. You can't WhatsApp them. You're playing in Amazon and eBay's house. So if you do anything wrong, even if you don't do anything wrong, I've heard stories where they can boot you off their platform, and that's your business. So, you know, you've got to be mindful of that. But you could do the two at the same time. You could do your own, you could put your products on a marketplace and have your own store. So let's talk about having your own store now. So having your own store, you can use platforms. We use Shopify, but you can use WooCommerce. You've got Wix, you've got BigCommerce. So you can choose which one is right for you. I would say if you're a beginner or even advanced, we would always go with Shopify. And yes, there are pros and cons of Shopify, but ultimately you don't have to worry about servers. You don't have to worry about the management of it. If something happens to Shopify servers, there are huge brands on there that, you know, are going to be complaining a lot more than you, and they get it back up. If you use something like WooCommerce, you have to be responsible for your servers. And so I would say go with Shopify. Now, what are the pros then of having your own store? Well, like, you own your customers. I mean, that is huge. You can remarket to them. You can email them. You can do whatever you want with them. And you're building an asset for yourself. You're building a little mini brand. You're building an asset. And over time, if you have 100,000 customers, that'll be worth something to someone. So there's a better potential as well to exit your business from that perspective. So we use Shopify. I would recommend it, but ultimately it's up to you where you are in your experience, whether you want to use a marketplace or or your own store. Now we have a checklist, which a Shopify checklist when you open your store goes through like everything's like the right shipping information is put in, taxes, etc. Happy to provide that to you. I don't have it on me at the moment, but am I allowed to plug a site?
Yes.
If you go to
ahead.
hartzbrands.com, so it's HARTZ brands.com, just fill in the form, subscribe, and then whoever subscribes, I'll get that out to you at some point in the next few weeks. Okay. So it really helps. So when you're setting up a Shopify store, it'll make sure that it's compliant. You can copy our terms of service, our privacy policies, just obviously put your details in. So that'll get you going. So you can have a checklist on that. So we've spoken about finding your products. We've spoken about the different sales channels. Now let's talk about conversion optimization a bit. So with conversion optimization, you've got to make sure that, can I repeat? So I just saw a message. Can you repeat that? I don't know. Am I talking too fast?
Do you mean the website, hartzbrands.com?
Oh, Hartzbrands, yeah. HARTZ.
I'll put it on the chat.
brands.com.
HARTZ.
So okay, I'm going to talk about traffic actually, because it actually leads into conversion nicely. So people are worried about getting traffic to their stores, right? You will not have a traffic problem. I promise you, traffic is not an issue. You will not have a traffic problem. What you might have, if you're not selling anything, is a math problem or a conversion problem. So, for example, if you've got 100 high intent people that have come to your store from Google Shopping, so that's intent, it's that they're searching and they're actually looking for a light. Okay, you're not interrupting them like on Facebook. They go, oh, I like that light from Kim's lighting store. That's really nice. Let's head over there. And 100 people go to Kim's lighting store and not one person buys. That's not a traffic problem. That's a Kim problem, right? So what does that mean? It means, okay, are the products priced correctly? You know, is it, if everyone else is selling the same light for £50 and you're selling it £1,000, well, you're never going to sell one. Okay. Does your store load quickly? Are people going to the store and it's just taking like 10 seconds to load? Is it mobile optimized? So is it working for mobile, which is so important? Okay. Have you actually tested that your checkout works? And I've been guilty of that myself, where I'm like, we're getting loads of traffic and we've never sold a product. What's going on? I better check. And I go on and my checkout isn't configured correctly. It happens. Is your product photography up to scratch? Do your products look nice? Is your description nice? And it's not just like, I mean, I've got an example of a really bad site, which I can talk about later. You know, Drew Pritchard, if you watch Salvage Hunters, you'll know what I mean, Drew Pritchard, you know. So is your description good? Is it catchy? And does your Shopify store look trustworthy? So do you look like a legitimate person? Have you told the story behind you? Is your About Us page banging brilliantly? Is your homepage brilliant? Is your Contact Us page brilliant? Because people do check on that now. They want to see who they're buying from. If you've got a story behind your brand, tell the story. Video, have a video of you. Welcome to my store. I sell lights. I've been passionate about lights for many years and blah, blah, blah. So it's not a traffic problem, it's a conversion problem. When people do come on your store, so some little conversion hacks, make sure that there's no distraction as to what they're coming to buy. So we see this a lot with a lot of e-commerce stores, where they'll have like people that bought this at the bottom, which can work in some aspects, but ultimately you just want one result, and that's them to purchase the add to cart. And then once they've purchased, click that, you want them to go to checkout and buy. If you have any other fluff around that, it'll distract them. That's all you want. Which brings me to my kind of a really good point, which is post-purchase upsells. So once they've purchased your product, a post-purchase upsell is where you make them an offer that they can't refuse. Okay, so that could be if they've purchased a 50 grams of coffee, you could offer them an upsell like a 75 grams of coffee. A cross sell would be, well, if they've purchased coffee, maybe they're like a mug or a cafetiere with it. So that's what the difference between upsells and cross sells. But what happens with post-purchase upsells, and there are apps on Shopify that help, it's CartHook, Zipify, there's a few others that have come on the market. If they click the button, they don't have to enter their credit card details again. So it's automatically, it's like Amazon's one-click upsell or one-click purchase. They press the button and then it rebuilds them. So it removes all the hassle of adding their credit card details in. So post-purchase upsells are really important. Am I going too quickly? Is that okay?
Yeah. If anyone thinks Craig's going too quickly, please do let us know, but I think it's fine.
Okay, so should we talk about a bit of traffic? So my favorite traffic source is shopping ads, Google, and Bing. And you're probably thinking, well, Bing, isn't that like 1990s? Well, it is 1990s, but it converts really well and for a very low price. And the reason being is that in lots of corporate offices, the IT is all run on Microsoft. So when these people in their offices go on to, the internet, they tend to, Bing is their default search engine. So you won't get the same amount of traffic as Google, but you will get cheaper conversions. So don't underestimate and leave out Bing. And not many people are doing Bing. They're all on Google. So remember that. So shopping ads are really important. Shopping ads show the product. If you've got free shipping, it covers free shipping real estate. If you've got promotions on any time, it will show promotions. So it draws the eyeballs to that. And also it can do things like, what's the last one? Promos, reviews, that's right. So if you've got good reviews on your store, the little stars come up below. So this all helps build trust when people are clicking onto your product. After Google shopping ads, I would say text ads are really good because they're still intent-based. So the standard ads that come up in Google search. And then because these are intent-based traffic, after that you've got where you're interrupting people. So that's like YouTube in-stream ads, that's like Facebook ads. So basically on Facebook ads, you're scrolling down and all of a sudden you see your product and you're interrupting them. They're not looking to buy at that time. So it's a completely different strategy. With those, you've got to make sure that your creative's right more than anything else. It's all about creative and it's all about the funnel in terms of, okay, they've seen it, they've clicked on it, their boss has just come over, they've clicked off again. So how are they going to find you again? So a nice little strategy there that you could use is use Facebook ads for awareness. So you're not necessarily looking for the sale, but make sure you follow that up with your Google shopping and text ads. Because what happens is people look on Facebook, okay, their boss has come over, they've gone down, and then they've gone home and they're on their computer and they're thinking, what's that thing called again? And where do they go? They don't go back on Facebook, they go on Google. And then you can appear and show up again. So that's kind of the traffic side of things. Facebook isn't as powerful for I would say for cold direct sell traffic as it used to be, but there's still a place for it. And of course, YouTube stream ads as well, where it's the little ad that comes up, the 5 seconds, you can skip after 5 seconds. So if you're selling lighting, and for example, somebody's on YouTube looking at different lighting ideas or house ideas, your ad can appear there. And you don't get charged if they skip your ad. You only get charged if they click on it or the person watches over 30 seconds. So that's quite smart. You can do a lot of things there. Oh, right, shall I carry on? Any questions?
Anyone want to put any questions into the chat? Nothing at the moment.
Great.
No.
I would actually like just to kind of, can you go over again the difference between like a text ad and a Google ad? Like there's and because you said a text ad and a Google shopping ad. I don't know if you wanted us to pull something up on.
Okay, so if you open up Google and type in side lights or desk lamp
Would you like me to do this, Craig, or are you just telling
Yeah,
everyone?
yeah. If it'll clarify exactly what it is. Yeah.
What am I typing in? Desk lamp.
Just go to Google, type in desk lamp, and then are you able to share your screen?
Let me share the screen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So can you see? I just saw those. So they're Google shopping ads. Can you see the images?
Yeah.
And can you see? And this is very small on my phone, so I apologise if I'm really leaning into my camera. But can you see 3 along? I think it's got the stars. Yeah.
These
so they're
ones, yeah.
reviews. So you can get apps to get reviews like Luke's LOOX. And you can see product imagery is really different. Like what stands out? Does that say price drop on one of them? What's the text that says on the top?
Promotion, it says.
Promotion, there you go. Okay. So also they've run a promotion. Now, whether they might do a whole DFS thing where they run a promotion 11 months of the year and 1 month they don't, but you can see it draws the eye. So you can do little things. There are Google shopping hacks that you can do in order to draw the viewer in. Can you see that it says 2 ads below those? Can you see that they're text ads? Can you see those 2? It says ad. Yeah. So they're text ads, and below that is the organic rankings. Now, if you can do organic SEO, it's you're golden, but it's not so easy. It takes a long time, but it's possible, of course. So that's the difference between text ads and Google ads.
So Made has paid to be there basically, whereas Argos and IKEA are doing search engine optimization. So
yes, Argos is the first one, IKEA is this, yeah, and obviously they've got huge domain. You know, I mean, they're massive companies. That domain's been around, so that's why they're ranking so well.
Thanks, Craig. I think that's it certainly explains it to me, and I hope it explains it to everybody else. Kim, we did have some questions actually.
Okay, let me just go back to the chat. Okay, so Nadia said, what about Instagram?
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, it's all about who you're. So Facebook own Instagram, okay. Anyway, so when I refer to Facebook ads, I mean Instagram in that as well, because they're all part of the placements, even WhatsApp as well. So of course, with Instagram, it depends on who your demographic is, but if it's a younger audience, then yeah, absolutely, you can advertise on that. You can go down the whole influencer route as well, where you contact people to promote your product, and you cut a deal with them. You either just pay them outright or you give them a commission on the sales. And some people, if you do I mean, these are people by people, we forget that, right? We really do forget that. And if you were to send, you think, oh, this influencer is never, ever going to promote my product. If you recorded a 30-second video just saying, let's pretend Kim's an influencer. Hi, Kim, I love, your channel on how to tidy up houses. I've learned a lot about it. It's really fantastic. We've just launched a really lovely, like, minimalistic product that I think would fit for your customers, your viewers. Would you mind promoting it? I'm happy to send it for you, and you can keep it, of course. Or if you want a commission, you say what you want. If you do a little video like that, personalized, people will buy into that. That's how you get answers, rather than a cold email. I'm emailing you from Kim's cleaning company, and would you mind doing, would you do it? You're not going to get a result when they've got 100 other people emailing them the same thing every day. So video is really important. Definitely reach out to people with video. You can even do the extent on your thank you page when people have purchased, to say, thanks for purchasing this is a family run business, and we're really proud of our bunk beds. They're all handmade, and thanks so much. If you wouldn't mind sharing with your friends on Facebook, we'd really appreciate it. And that generates referrals as they share the product.
Craig, we've got another question from Alex, which says, I already have a shop on Wix. Is the way to drive traffic the same?
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't matter what channel you're on. Yeah.
Brilliant. Karen has asked, can you list all the services you've mentioned by category? Well, we're sending your video out. Anything else that's not in there, we can send out after. Judith has asked, do people usually go first to paid or Google ads? I know that I avoid paid ads as they seem more commercial and perhaps not as good a deal, but not really knowledgeable on that.
Yeah, go. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you have to pay to play. That's what it boils down to. If you don't spend money on pay-per-click, buying traffic, you're relying on SEO. So what that basically means is, A, do you even know how to do SEO? And B, even if you're brilliant at SEO, it can take 3 to 6 months to show any results. And that's why when you're looking at products and you're looking at niches and you want to do some market research, like what a waste of time if you think, I like this product, everyone else is going to like it. You spend all this time building this site or buying the product, and then it comes to launch and you're all excited, and then 2 months later you haven't made one sale. And it could just be that you're not driving traffic, or it could just be that no one's interested in your product apart from you. So doing those little Facebook hacks, like asking people, would you buy this? Simple as that. Would you wear this? You know, you can do that. You can also ask on Reddit. There's we launched a new brand called the Bare Bones Company. And it's like, you can look at it, it's called the barebonescompany.com. And we went onto Reddit and we asked the community at Reddit, is this something you would buy? And that's how you do research. There's a subreddit called, I think it's the Bare Bones Company, Joe, I think. And there's a subreddit called Streetwear. So if you're in like that kind of apparel niche, people put their products up. Would you buy it? And then sometimes they link to the actual product. So do market research. Did I answer that question?
For me, you did, yes. If there are any follow-up questions to that, let us know. There's a question from Wayne. Is Facebook a good selling platform?
Yes and no. So back in the day, it was brilliant, but there's a lot more competition. They've got this whole kind of new privacy with your iOS 15 updates. So with Facebook, you've got to be lucky to drive cold traffic to make profit from the get-go now. In the old days, it was really easy. Now, you might have to test like 20, 30, 40 products to find your winner. Now, if you're spending 20 to 50 pounds per test, it adds up. What I would say with Facebook is you use it for in a different strategy. So you can use it for getting people's details. So what do I mean by that? So you could do a competition. You could run a contest ad, win this lamp, okay? And you only want to do contests specific to your niche and product. If you do win an iPad, you're going to get loads of people entering that are not interested in your product or business at all. So it's got to be really niche. So then you can do that, and then you can build up your emails and your SMSs, and then there's a whole contest campaign that you can do based off that. What is better to use it for is retargeting. So if people have come to your site for whichever, whether it's SEO, PPC, Google, Bing, whatever, then you follow them around the web, and that's retargeting. So they go onto Facebook and they see your ad. They go onto CNN and they see your ad. That is what we use Facebook for these days. So market research, awareness campaigns, and retargeting, not so much direct response marketing. It does work, but you've got to be pretty advanced and sometimes lucky, and you've got to have deep pockets to buy the data.
We've got a follow-on question from your point before from Michelle, which she has said, I'm never interested in the background story or the thanks for buying. I would avoid adding all that stuff for that reason. Do you believe it to be crucial?
You say potato, I say potato. Like everyone is different. Was it tomato? It's everybody's different. Some people want a story. Now, you could argue that you don't have to have that, but you could argue Etsy. Why has Etsy become so massive? Because it's personal products and you're knowing people's stories. You know, on Amazon, you're buying something that's probably just been shipped from China, sitting in a warehouse. You don't know the story. It's personal preference. I'm not going to say that I'm right on that. It's personal preference. It depends how you want to project your brand. And if anyone's purchased the product anyway, what harm does it do just to say thank you? You know, they're not going to suddenly say, I want a refund because you said thank you. So it's up to you. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. Just a nice touch. Separates you, I guess, from the hordes of the other e-com owners.
So we've got about 10 minutes left to this session. Shall we leave the rest of the questions to the end?
Okay. Well, I just wanted to go over some really good conversion hacks to increase your profits. Okay. So let's talk about order bumps. So when you go on your checkout, often there's a little tick box that will be like an order bump. So an order bump could be things like a warranty. So do you want a 6-month or an extra 1-year warranty on this product? These really work. You think they don't, but that they really do. So that's called an order bump, an extra warranty. You could also have things like free shipping thresholds. So if you don't offer free shipping, now we don't want to give the customer any excuse not to buy, but we understand, of course, there's always a toss up between adding the shipping costs into your product costs and looking unreasonable in your pricing versus charging shipping. But what you can do, you could do like a free shipping threshold. So when we look at our data and we look at our back end, and let's say we see that our average order value is £27. So then we can think to ourselves, well, hang on a minute. If we make free shipping over £30, are people going to look around the site and go, well, for an extra £3, I'm going to save £4 on the shipping? And they do. And I'm guilty of doing that myself. It's like if I go onto debenhams.com and it's free shipping over £50 and I'm on £49.98, I'll buy a pair of socks, or I just find something really cheap to take me over to the free shipping. So that's a really good idea in order to increase your average order value. So we've spoken about upsells and cross sells, which is really important. And then you can also have other things like spend over X amount and get 10% off your next purchase. So again, you look at your data. So if our average order value is £27, we could say spend over £30 and get 30% off your next purchase. So there are kind of little things that you can do to increase your average order value. Post-purchase upsells are by far my favorite. They're really good. You can also sell things on there like warranties, as I mentioned. And you can also do shipping bumps as well. So you can do things like priority handling. So you could say to people, for an extra £5, would you like to skip the queue? So if people want the product quickly. So if there's normally a 2 or 3 day handling time, if they pay £5 extra, they skip the queue and it's done that day. And you think people don't do that, but it's crazy. They do. So these are little things of increasing your average order value. In terms of conversion hacks, live chat on your store is huge. A buddy of mine owns a Singer sewing machine website, and he said that the majority, I can't remember the exact figure, but that sales come through live chat because people always have questions about the product. So if you go onto a store and you're looking at, you can use something like Hotjar to record, so you can see what people are doing on the store in real time and recordings, and you can see, oh, why aren't people buying? Why aren't people buying? Well, maybe on your product page you haven't answered a question they've got. Maybe it's about the return policy, your shipping policy, which you should, by the way, have on your product pages. So live chat goes a long way. And yeah, you're not going to be on there 24/7, but you could also outsource live chat to, there's a website that we use called onlinejobs.ph, where you can get some really amazing talent in the Philippines. And that's how we outsource things like customer service, our graphics, our editing, that kind of thing. And have reviews on your page as well. If you have reviews, people, I missed what Joe was saying at the very beginning, but there are some statistics that people buy based off social proof and reviews. Obviously make sure they're legitimate, but reviews are really important. And as I mentioned, I think the last point is about us. I mean, I think it's important having a really good about us page. And if you look at your data, if you drive a decent level of traffic and you look at your Google Analytics, you'll be surprised that people do actually click on that page.
Fantastic. Craig, we have 5 minutes left of the session and we've got quite a few questions coming in. Saskia has asked, I want to sell my pet products from my physical shop online. Do you think to do it through our website or Amazon?
Both. I mean, your website, you're gonna have to drive traffic. Amazon, you can drive traffic, of course, but you've already got people basically walking around looking for pet products, so they're going to find you. But you might want to ask the next speaker about the Amazon side of things, because I'm not an Amazon expert.
And Nadia has asked, what's the best outlet for frozen food products beside one's own e-commerce website?
The best what?
The best outlet. I presume, Nadia, you mean the best site?
Do you mean like marketplace? You could probably put it on things like eBay. So there's another video that I'm going to make, which is a really cool case study that I did when this whole pandemic started about COVID, and there were massive supplier issues. And I won't go into too much detail now, but I tested some things, reselling some stuff from eBay, and people buy the most crazy things. And eBay would be a really good platform for you to sell that, because the reason I'm saying that is they bought frozen products from us that we sourced on eBay.
Thank you, that's brilliant. And Sarah says, if I'm not very good on the computer, is it worth paying someone to make the website for me rather than using Shopify, etc.? No,
use Shopify. So Shopify have free themes. It's often very drag and drop. There are some apps on there that help you. Literally, you don't need to know any code. You're like, oh, this looks nice there. I'll put the logo there. I'll put the product image here. And there are so many templates. And if you look at the barebonescompany.com, that's a free template, just so you know. We wanted that very basic. We wanted it to load quickly, no fuss. So you can make some really nice pages with the free ones. So go Shopify, don't do anything else. And also bear in mind, mobile, most product Shopify themes all look the same on mobile anyway. You've got product image, you've got the add to cart button. So you can do that very cheap. And I think Shopify starts at like $29 a month or something like that.
So very quickly, we've only got a couple of minutes left. Our last question from Michelle. If you are selling across different platforms, do you have to keep items the same price?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mentioned
question.
that in a video that I recorded yesterday that's not live yet. So no, it depends on, such a good question. It depends on the channel that the traffic's coming from. So I'll be very, very quick. If you're on Google Shopping and you're selling the same product as everyone else, there is a price sensitivity to that, okay? One aspect is you don't have to be the cheapest, and I proved that for my case study. But if you've got lots and lots and lots of traffic, if you're the cheapest, you're going to get tons and tons and tons of traffic and sales. And if you do your post-purchase marketing correctly, emails, promotions, you'll make a killing. There, though, if you want that strategy, you want to be the cheapest. However, if somebody's coming from Facebook, there's no price sensitivity because they're buying on a whim, then you don't have to be the cheapest. So there are some hacks, which I will talk about in another video that I'm going to make, on how you can have the same product but different pricing per traffic source.
Fantastic. Well,
that's a great question.
Well, yeah, we need to go into more detail with you on that at another time. But thank you so much, Craig. That's been really interesting and insightful. I think everyone has agreed that that's been a brilliant presentation. We've now got 5 minutes until our next session at 10:20. Please don't forget that you have to log out of this Zoom link and log into the next Zoom link, which we have sent you all via email. Where can you watch this video? We will send out the links afterwards. And once again, thank you so much, Craig. That was brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Please have 5 minutes and we'll see you again in 5 minutes' time.
Thanks.
All right, bye.